Okay, so I actually put the camera down and focused on what I was doing instead of trying to make a video, and I made a much nicer tube. And this, again, you only have to do this if your tube doesn't fit the motor that you've been supplied. So I did it from scratch. It is important that this is clean and tidy because this is like the heartbeat of your Avro is the thrust. Super important to kind of get that size, about the same size. I'm going to have to open it up just a little bit because it slipped on me, but I like the tube, so I'm going to go with the tube. But here's a neat thing. This is why actually the Mylar is actually, or whatever this plastic's called. So you can see the motor's in there, right? And I haven't cut the hole. I'm going to do that in a second. But for right now, let's just say that motor was installed. I can actually put it in from the back. I don't need to get in there. All I got to do is smush it. Just give it a little pinch, fold it over on itself, like so, and then put it in there with your wires somehow mushed in there, like so. And let go. And then it pops just perfectly in place. And then you can just slide it over the motor. You can see I got a little bit of play, but again, when I put hot glue in there, the important thing is that it grabs the air and it puts it out. I'll size this so that this is, the perfect size. Get the on the right side, the small part on the right side, glue this in, and then a couple dabs of hot glue there, and there, and I'm done. And like 5 seconds, well, not 5 seconds, but 5 minutes, I've installed the motor. Then we still need the hole for the wires. So soldering iron, I'm just going to do it in real time. That's about how far I want that motor sticking out. So, and the wires go right about here. So let's just make a hole. There will be some fumes. That's okay. Boom, there's my perfect hole. So now I can go back and I can feed, if you can see that, yeah, you can kind of see that. I can feed those wires through there, and if I need to make it a little bigger, it's nice and smooth. There's no excess cutting, and we got pretty good control of airflow. We don't want to lose a lot of air. We don't want a lot of turbulence, but that's done. I've got the tube in. I've pulled the wires through. You can see quite clearly that I've pulled the 3 wires through. They'll connect to the speed control right there. I'll make sure that I get the sequence right so the motor spins in the right direction. Things are just loose right now. I haven't hot glued anything in, but I'm getting pretty close. But right now I'm just tweaking this exhaust tube former. So don't use a Dremel. Depron sand's so easy. I want the numbers on the inside. If there's any markings, I'll just pick. Again, remember, this is the top is the thicker part. So I'll just take a piece of, this is 180 grit, kind of roll it into a circle. So I get my fingers in there. So I got kind of a circle. And then it's just as easy as just loose sanding. And again, when you're sanding, you want to make sure you're making this circle a circle. Don't make it a square. We also don't want to change, we don't want to move it over here, there. We just want a nice circle. And then I'll just keep test fitting until that tube fits perfectly onto there. And I'm almost there. And then lines up with this. So I'm lined up at the front. I'm lined up on the sides, and yeah. Okay, so this actually does go like that. So that's good. It's got it upside down. Put that on there like that. That's how it goes. So we just want to get this hole big enough so it fits on that tube, so it's centered, and then it's all a surface flush mount, and then we're going to sand it all down. But for right now, we don't need that in the picture. We just have it handy. That's what it's supposed to look like to get this all set up. Weight is important. I'm not really going to put any hot glue here. I'm just going to hot glue it there and there. And then same thing back here. I'll probably just put a dab there and there to keep everything lined up. But go crazy on the tape if you want on your tube. The idea is smooth airflow. That's what we want. We don't want any waves, ripples, disturbances. Just we want to get that air out as smoothly as we can because that's where our thrust comes from. Okay, so I've messed around with it. I got it fitting perfectly. It doesn't really matter how much this sticks out past the model. It's just got to stick out past, and I've got mine just about perfectly flush. I've lined up my wing, my alignment pin way up there at the front. You can see the alignment pin. Okay, so everything looks like it's fitting really nice. I'll get this guy centered, and then the final test, make sure everything that does actually fit, is we just line that up, and look at that. Like butter. Everything is fitting. Now we're going to do some sanding and make it all pretty, but the point is that the everything is nicely centered. Left to right centered, top to bottom, looks good. And then we'll sand, we'll do a little bit of curve. We don't do the ailerons yet. There's a reason I want to be able to do that, because I want to get in here and I want to get that curve. I want to make sure everything matches up nice. We don't put the tail on yet either. This is why we don't want the tail in the way, so we can do all the sanding that we need to do and get this all fitting good. And then once that's good, and we're happy with the install inside, guys, like we're basically almost done. We'll glue the wing on, we'll flip her over. We won't. The rudder is going to be the very last thing we put on, and the other last thing is the. We don't want the cockpit. We don't want any of this stuff in the way yet, because we want to flip her over, upside down, flat work area, and then we'll install our. Once all this is done, we'll install the ailerons and we'll do the linkages from the other side. And then all we have to do, I mean, gluing the tail on is a 5-second thing. The hardest part is going to be making that battery hatch. And that'll be tomorrow's project, because truly I have run out of time for today. I've been given the 5-minute warning to go get ready, and that's what I'm going to go do.